DK.
Golfcast.
Presented by
Bones Brothers Media.
Back to where it all began. The Northern Trust this weekend, first round of the WGC playoffs, joined as always by Bones DK Golf. How you doing today?
Feeling good, man. Coming off a pretty rough week. That was a tough one to get through. A long week of golf. Ended up not cashing. Hopefully our guys come through this week. I'm feeling a lot better. That was a weird tournament, the Wyndham. I could have had my girlfriend, my wife, pick that lineup, and she would have probably won. So that was tough. Who would have knew that was going to happen?
Rick Rungood said the optimal lineup was like 760 points and only cost you $47,000. But as I said to start the show just a moment ago, this is where it all began, Bones DK. Got positive vibes this week, though. Feeling good about coming back to the spot where you got your first huge 5-digit cash.
Yeah, man, that was my first ever cash, 40K at the Northern Trust. It was led by DJ, who was 30 under. Scotty Scheffler was on that team. And what cost me 100K was playing Cameron Champ over Harris English, actually, in this spot. Cameron Champ missed the cut on the number. I still finished in second in the $200 single with a 5 of 6 in that big tournament. So it is a different course this year, though. We'll have Wildman explain that, but just watch out for that. That history last year isn't technically the same.
Yeah, speaking of Wildman, joining us, TW Man 66 from Tampa, Florida. Did you get through Fred this past weekend here, Wildman?
Yeah, I didn't even know it was coming. Somebody was like, "Hey, how'd you do?" I was like, "With what?" It rained. It rained, and I survived it. But hey, Rob, word to the wise: you might want to remember that she's your wife and not your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Huge blunder in the first few seconds of the podcast.
Can we
Almost
edit
had
that
to
out?
Restart this one.
Can we edit that out?
Almost had to restart this one. Well, it is in a different course, though, Wildman, and I expect the numbers to be super, super low again this weekend. And speaking of Fred, there may be some lingering effects, actually, in Jersey City, in New York City this week. So what's different? This is, again, where it all began for the Bones DK Golf family. What's different this week besides maybe the course that maybe could give some players an edge this week?
Well, I do want to clarify that this was the second big cash, actually. The PGA was the first one 2 weeks prior to this last year. But, yeah, it's at Liberty National. So it is the Northern Trust, but this is a rotating course, much like a major, like the U.S. Open, like the British Open. So this is only the fourth stroke play event ever at this venue, although the President's Cup did play here in 2017 as well. So 2019, it was played here, 2013, and I believe 2009. So we're not necessarily going all the way back to 2009, but there are some guys that have played this course a couple of times and had really good results at it. Soft conditions are what can bring the score more in that like mid-teens range, like 15 to 16 under par. If it's faster and firmer, it can be a little more difficult.
It's a loaded field here, Bones DK. Who do you really like here? I mean, we'll get into the intricacies of the tiers, but if you had to make an outright pick right now, I mean, you're getting, I think, all of the top 125 players except Louis in the country or in the world right now are playing in this event. So you've got the best of the best. You look at Rahm, you look at DJ, who we said had a great tournament here last year. I mean, Spieth, Schauffele just coming off a gold medal, Morikawa, who, the only time we didn't bet him this year smoked us. Otherwise, he's made us a lot of money. Who do you like outright here? I mean, it's loaded.
I mean, just based off pricing alone, I mean, it's just funny seeing Morikawa down in fifth again.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be above DJ, to be honest with you. Definitely above Spieth. And he could arguably be above Xander. So I think there is good value there. And I think Colin Morikawa can win this tournament 100%. This is a big tournament, big moment. They need to get through. A lot of money on the line. Colin Morikawa steps up in these moments. So I really like Morikawa right away in this range. But you really can't argue Jon Rahm. I think he has a third place at this course in 2019. Correct me if I'm wrong, Wildman. But so, I mean, it's tough to fade Rahm there. But again, we talk about value. You got to play some of those cheap 6K guys with Rom.
Yeah.
So is it worth it? I think
Yeah,
Morikawa can make it run.
we love value in the Bones DK Golf family, Wild Man. So, what are the strategies we're trying to incorporate this year? Is this a stars and scrubs type week? Is this a balanced build week? What kind of narrative are you looking at to set your lineup?
Well, it's important to remember that although this is a qualifying event, meaning you have to be in the top 125 to get in, there is a cut at this event. So this is the only cut event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. So you got to remember that. I mean, you can't necessarily go stars and scrubs unless you believe those guys can make the cut. And with a short field of only 124 golfers, down considerably from a normal tour event, that elevates the importance of getting 6 for 6 through. So depending on your contest size is how you want to mitigate your risk. Smaller contests, I'd be a little bit more balanced. Bigger contests, maybe you do get a little risky with it. But I mean, every time we get to the playoffs, it feels kind of obvious. It's like whatever guy is really trending and seems to pop at that particular time, whether it was Spieth, he won the majors, he won the FedEx Cup. It was DJ last year, won the Masters, won the FedEx Cup. Justin Rose had a run, many of these guys, Justin Thomas had a great year, major FedEx Cup. So it just sort of feels like it's Rahm and Morikawa this year, doesn't it? I mean, one of them's going to win it. And I think there's an argument for either side. In terms of this particular event, it does favor longer hitters. Rahm is a longer hitter. If you want to talk course history in 2019, Rahm did finish third. Morikawa did not have a good finish, I believe 58th, or either 58th or didn't play. I can't even remember. So it does kind of lean towards Rahm. And this is just where the big dogs eat, right? I mean, this is the playoffs. They're playing for bigger money than majors here. $10 million at the end of the road here. So I'd expect to see a stacked major-esque leaderboard all week long.
Let's talk about some of those long ball hitters that Wild Man was just talking about there, Bones DK, because we just got your opinion on the top tier. You like Morikawa there. If you were going to maybe build your lineup starting with one of those top tier guys. What about Koepka? What about McIlroy? What about DeChambeau? We talk about value. DeChambeau at 9,600, even though he's got some, people are talking about his mental state a little bit, and I think it's legitimate. He is being terrorized at every golf course he goes to. But DeChambeau, long ball hitter, you got to like him at 9,600, no?
I do like Bryson DeChambeau a lot, Edge, especially if you can get him in as your second guy in. Come on, if you start like Morikawa, Bryson or Rahm Bryson, that is a good start. You're going to want to try to get two of these good guys in your lineup. Like Wildman said, it's going to be a stacked top 10 leaderboard. The big names are going to show up. So it's going to, I'm leaning stars and scrubs actually in my lineup because I'm trying to, fit these two guys in. But you go down to Bryson here, and tee to green is actually a big stat I'm looking at this week. And obviously off the tee and approach. So, I mean, Bryson's one of the best players in the world, tee to green. And he's coming off at 8th at the St. Jude, 33rd at the Open. Not the best results in the world, but this guy can pop up at any time. I was calling Bryson a lot in the beginning of the year. I kept playing him. I fade him, and he wins the tournament, right? I mean, it just happens a lot. I really like Bryson in this moment. I don't think the people are getting in his head. I think they're trying to, and I think fire up the Jets with Bryson DeChambeau this week.
What about his arch nemesis, Wild Man, Brooks Koepka? Does he have a shot here? Arguably the cockiest golfer you've ever seen in your life, right? I mean, he is.
Maybe the cockiest.
He just oozes arrogance everywhere he goes.
Maybe the cockiest.
And it doesn't always translate. The thing about Brooks is it does not always translate into wins, man. It really doesn't. And I feel like lately too, and this may just, I don't necessarily have this is a very subjective opinion here, but it feels like when he's not in it, he's kind of been given up lately also. If you ask me, he's not really making a hard charge, and he's always been that way in these non-major tournaments. But does Brooks feel like he could win this weekend? You, Wild Man?
I don't. I mean, yeah, he can win anywhere he tees it up. Clearly, I mean, 4 majors and all those great finishes in the majors. Obviously, worlds of talent. I agree with you, though. I think you want to talk about head games, man. I think the head games are in his head. You know, he's on Barstool Sports.
I agree.
Michelob Ultra cases. He's Joe Cool everywhere he goes. Every time he talks, you know, I think Bryson's actually putting the heat on him. And I talked earlier, just a minute ago, about like how golfers pop. Right? There's nothing to take away from Brooks, but I feel like his pop was 2018, 2019. Right? He won the 4 majors. Those are half of his worldwide wins. So, you know, a guy that clearly can win anywhere he goes, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he is on the level of Rahm and Morikawa right now, and arguably not even as good as Bryson is right now. You know, and here's the one thing about Bryson too. We talked about this with Harris English at the U.S. Open, and we were spot on. We're like, he double bogeyed the 72nd hole that dragged his ownership and his price down at the U.S. Open, right? And we're like, are we really going to dog the guy because he maybe got squirrely off the tee? Same thing with Bryson last week, right? It's like Bryson collapsed at the St. Jude. Well, he finished 8th despite a Sunday 74. And oh, by the way, he had 24 birdies in the event. Priced very similar. Seems like he's a lot better than a 95 tag, no doubt. And then finally, I'll mention Rory McIlroy. You know, when we get to the FedEx Cup playoffs, when we get to Liberty National, strokes gained tee to green always tend to shine through. When the money's on the table, I mean, maybe Morikawa's taking this from him, you know, with how lights out he's been over the last 18 months. McIlroy tee to green, man. If you're betting the last dollar you have, I'd bet on him.
Just a feeling about McIlroy, though, too, and this is a great feeling. I love Rory. I think he's still one of the most competitive players out there, but it seems like he's more into being a dad right now than he is like winning golf tournaments. You know what I mean? Like losing isn't affecting him as much as maybe it had in the past when he had some other things on his mind. Let's look at that middle tier here now. We talked about the top tier guys. At 9,500, you have Hovland, you have Answer, who's been playing pretty well as of late. Scotty Scheffler, who we love, be a great spot for Scotty to get his first win. Cantlay, Berger, Matsuyama at 9,000. Woo! Value, Bones DK.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just noticed that. I mean, Hideki down at 9K. That's pretty crazy. I mean, everyone gets upset about miscut at the Wyndham, but I'm not really even looking at that. Only 4 bogeys, 7 bogeys, 6 bogeys, 0. Oh no, it looks like he withdrew there, but still, this guy's playing incredible golf. Hideki, come on, man, this is a big moment. This is his year. I mean, he won the Masters this year, so man, 9K. I was gonna say Webb Simpson down there actually is some value at 8,900, but this kind of threw me off a little bit with Hideki here. Honestly, I wasn't expecting him down there. I think that's great value. Scotty Scheffler, our boy, 9,300. I told you I'm always going to put him on my top plays. I am struggling to fit him in my lineup this week, though. Again, Bryson DeChambeau only $300 more than Scotty Scheffler. I think I'm going to take Bryson in that matchup, even though I love Scotty. When we won the 40K last year, Scotty Scheffler was only $7,300. Now he's $9,300. I know he's a different player, but man, Hideki, Berger. I mean, these are good time players down here. This is a really tough range. Webb Simpson, Hideki, Harris English. This is a very tough range here. But yeah, I like Hideki Matsuyama a lot as value there.
The whole tournament's tough. I mean, every single one of these guys could win. They're the best of the best. We said that at the top of the show. The one thing about Hideki, I would also say, it's been a long year for Hideki, man. Winning the Masters, he's been competitive in every single golf tournament. The COVID withdrawal, the run at the medal in his home country. I don't know the fatigue setting in on the guy, but maybe that's why he's down there. He may be running out of gas as we get towards the end of the season. Who do you like in this middle tier, Wildman?
Yeah, I mean, Hideki's like either got it or he doesn't. That's why I really struggle to play him all the time, especially when there's a lot of money on the line.
He's actually kind of on my banned list. Like, I just don't play him because I always get him wrong, right? Yeah. I mean, it just every time. So that's a tough one there, man. Hideki 9K though. That's interesting.
I mean, look, here's something for the listeners. If you're a course history narrative person, Abraham Answer's coming off finally winning on the PGA Tour, runner-up here in 2019 at Liberty National in the playoffs. So he's at 9,400 on top of Scheffler. He's a guy I'd look at for sure. I mean, clearly has proven that he can get it done, whereas Scotty hasn't.
Doesn't make a lot of bogeys either. Answer does not make a lot of bogeys, man.
It's true, and he's got really, really electrifying irons when they're on. You know, the criticism with Scotty, as Rob kind of mentioned, was that just hasn't been able to get it done on Sunday. You know, a lot of great finishes, a lot of top 10s, 8s, 15s, but collapsing on Sunday. So you got to start wondering, you know, is that a mental issue with Scotty? And what's it going to take for him to get it done? Is this the week? I don't know. We like him in that 81 to 8,500, 8,800 range. But I'll pick Webb Simpson here. And by the way, it always already goes to say that I'll add Harris English to the top place because he's my guy this year to win the FedEx Cup. Been picking him for about 6 weeks. Webb Simpson, this is a Donald Ross type of undulating greens course, similar to Quail Hollow. Small greens, similar to RBC. Webb Simpson eats these Donald Rosses up, just like last week at Greensboro, where he's got, you know, a win there. All 3 courses I just mentioned, he's got a win and a slew of top 5s. So seems to be a guy that flies under the radar, but man, is he consistent. And one last thing, Edge, over 30% of approach shots at this course come in from over 200 yards. So we're looking at long iron play. For my money, 200 plus, Webb Simpson is the best in the world. And that's why he has good results at Augusta. And that's why he's got good results at these Donald Ross courses as well.
That's good stuff there, man. Harris English, you just mentioned, is going to kick off the next tier. He's at 8,800. Paul Casey, Patrick Reed, man, Captain America, embracing the name Captain America. He's got the new yardage book. Did you guys see that with the Captain America logo on it? The guy is ready for the Ryder Cup. Value at 8,600. I don't know. I mean, he hasn't really been that spectacular this year, but I feel like more confident in Patrick Reed than anybody when he tees it up, man. He's one of the best in the world, and he makes so many birdies when he is on. You got Cam Smith. You got Adam Scott, who damn near won it last week. Corey Connors, who's been my sweetheart on this podcast all year. I love Corey Connors, and he seems like he's been a solid play this year. Where are you guys feeling on this range here? 8,000 to 8,800. I didn't mention everybody. Finau's down there also. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, this tournament is just insane, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm leaning stars and scrubs, but then if you do like a balanced build, and let's say you start with Bryson, you know, you get a little, you know, let's just say you start with Bryson. If you think you can win this, that's where you can fit in a Decky, Webb, and probably a guy like Patrick Reed. You know, you have 4 studs up there. So, I mean, this is a really tough build this week. I haven't even decided how I'm going to build because, you know, you look at these guys. But, hey, man, Paul Casey. Talk about this guy's a year. I think I'm going to lock in Paul Casey. These are bent greens. So he loves bent greens here. You can see on fantasynational.com. And then scroll down, tee to green, 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 green. Lost a little bit off the tee there at the St. Jude. Still came in 5th. His irons are arguably the best in the world next to Colin Morikawa. So second in the world. And you saw he putted pretty well, though. So he likes bent. Those stats are there. I really like Paul Casey in this tournament this week.
Paul Casey seems like one of those guys, whenever I bet him, as you just mentioned a moment ago, Bones, he's the guy that we always seem to get wrong when we bet him. But you know what? He has had a really solid year. He doesn't get rattled really under pressure, man, and he usually does finish what he started. And by that, I mean he doesn't get down on himself. He can make you birdies on the 70th, 71st, 72nd hole when he's 10 shots off the lead and finish strong. So, Wildman, who do you like in that tier?
I like the Casey play, too. Definitely feels like mentally he's turned a corner. Let's talk about Patrick Reed. Played here in 2019 at Liberty National. Guess who won? Patrick Reed. 2017 President's Cup here at Liberty National. Patrick Reed lost one of his 5 stroke play matches. 3-1-1 record. Another win at this event in 2016. Wasn't at this course. 8,600. Man, I mean, I agree his form is not there, but like Rob said, when we're building a lineup, we're talking about balanced build. We could probably get 5 major champions in a lineup here if we play our cards right. You know, with Bryson and Webb Simpson and Patrick Reed and guys like that. So I think it's difficult to overlook Patrick Reed, and when the going gets tough, you know, tough get going, as you like to say, and he's he's gearing up for Ryder Cup in a couple of weeks, which, by the way, he has not auto-qualified for. So his result will matter this week.
Yeah. And trust me, man, that course history, I feel like, is a huge tell with Patrick Reed, too, man, because if he's already an overly confident guy, you give him that extra boost of confidence. Hey, I've won out here before. I can shoot a really low number. That maybe is what it takes for him to get over that hump and win a golf tournament this year.
You could really argue that he's competed at this course more than anybody, maybe outside of like Tiger, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I mean,
I think that's important.
Sometimes you just got to ignore the stats. I mean, that's where I really went wrong last week. I kind of ignored course history. And then like Kevin Kisner, who isn't in amazing form, he goes and wins it. And that's a guy we play a lot. So sometimes,
also,
Patrick Reed just got to, look.
Let me jump in with one more thing real quick. Adam Scott, same narrative as Patrick Reed. 5th here in 2019, won it here in 2013. Missed a 4-footer to win last week on a Donald Ross course, if you were watching that. But that's always been his bugaboo. So it's like, do you think he can brush those broomsticks in or not? Last week he proved he couldn't. So
I don't
fair play this week.
I'm going to be honest, in this type of field, I don't think Adam Scott has a chance to win. But again, are we looking for guys that are going to shoot maybe 13, 14, 15 under par and finish top 20? That's absolutely what we want, right? $7,000 tier. There's too many guys here to mention, but I'll just throw some names off that we love on this podcast. Kisner, who won last week. Kokrak, we like to play a lot. Harmon has burnt us a few times this year. Sergio Garcia. Want to throw Henley out there also because we dismissed Henley last week on the podcast, and he was right there up until about the 65th hole of the golf tournament. So where are we at in this $7,000 range, Bones DK?
Man, that Henley fade was torture. I had him in my first lineup, and it was just, and I took him out, and that was hard to watch, man. He just could not miss. The guy was on fire. But, I like this range. I think we'll let Wildman talk about Kevin Kisner. I know he likes him this week. I still think Terrell Hatton is a little underpriced. I just think he's top 15 in the world, 7,800. Last time I played him, he did pretty well at a cheap price. Does not like bent greens. Let's check out his stats here. So that he's there, tee to green. His irons are still there. He's good off the tee. So just watch out for Terrell Hatton. He's not locked in, but I do like him here. You get a lot of these guys, Ian Poulter, a guy that I was looking at, likes bent greens, been in pretty good form, 10th at the St. Jude. Look at his stats. There's a lot of red in here. So I might overlook him. And then Shane Lowry. Just talking about a guy that comes up in big moments. He likes bent grass. I feel like this is kind of his year too. A good comparison course is the RBC just because they have small greens. He has a top 10 at the RBC this year. Great tee to green. His irons are right there. So my favorite play probably in this range is Shane Lowry in the upper 7K range.
A major champion, as Wildman just mentioned a moment ago. Look, you want to, maybe that's a narrative. Can you get 6 major champions in there? When you got guys like Lowry coming in at 7,500?
Yeah.
Maybe you can. Wildman.
18 birdies, 17 birdies, 17 birdies, 18 birdies, only 5 bogeys, 8 bogeys, 7 bogeys. Come on now, let's go.
It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue with that. Wildman, who do you like in that tier? And then I also want to get your opinion on one guy in particular, Keegan Bradley at 7,500. What are your thoughts on him?
So Adam Scott, major champion, by the way. But yeah, Kisner,
Lowry.
I love Kisner. I'm a big fan of Kisner. I like his style. I like his social media. I was kind of rooting against him last week because we already had him queued up for this week. He likes this course. Good long iron player. His results tend to come in bunches. When he's playing bad, they come in bunches. When he's playing well, they come in bunches. Clearly, he's playing well, coming off another win. I think his 4th on the PGA Tour at a Donald Ross course. Again, now this isn't Donald Ross, by the way, but just similar greens with the undulations. So I do like Kisner at 7,900. He's right on the Ryder Cup bubble right now as well. So, you're going to, if you play chalk, it might talk you out of Kevin Kisner. I'm telling you, it's going to be a bad choice. He'll make the cut and he'll compete. And then let's flip it over to the Euro side for the Ryder Cup. Ian Poulter finished 10th here last year in 2019. Good results in the playoffs. A Ryder Cup guy. These are speedy bent grass greens. He's one of the best putters in the world. Good long iron player. he's getting a little older, so he is a little scary. But I think Poulter's got the same sort of need to play well as a lot of these Americans do, and especially because he's not just playing for the Ryder Cup, right? He's playing for $10 million and big wins on the PGA Tour. Keegan Bradley, I just can't go there. I just can't do it.
I don't know how you can. Yeah, I just wanted to ask. He seems to be getting a lot of buzz. I actually thought he would be like fighting for his PGA Tour card. Quite honestly, I didn't realize he was a top 125 player in the world. But
he did win a FedEx Cup playoff event a couple of years ago that got him his, reinforced his tour card. But man, he's just. I'm so tired of backing the guys that rate so well in ball striking that can't putt, and then convincing myself like, well, all they got to do is make a couple putts, right?
The Gim Reaper, for example.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's more likely that he just has a few bad iron shots. Having a few bad iron shots is more likely than running in a few 35 footers, right? Like I don't know. I'm not going to go to Keegan.
I'll bet Doug Gim was the most played golfer in my entire lineup card all season. I had him every week, the Gim Reaper. And exactly like you said, Wild Man, great ball striker. You waited for him to make putts, and guess what? It just doesn't like a light bulb doesn't just click on in their head and they start making putts. They stink at putting. Believe the information. You know what I mean? Believe.
Exactly.
Believe, as we like to say. We'll come back to you for your flyer of the week in just 1 minute. Bones DK. Anybody else you would like to mention that we didn't get to? I mean, again, 125 at the top. I think Louis the only top 125 player not in this field. So there's a lot of guys we could talk about under 7,500. Anybody else that we forgot to mention?
There's two guys I want to mention, and I've been playing them a lot, and I think there's a reason to keep playing them. Jonathan Vegas, baby. I love this guy. And I'm not saying he's a lock, but look at this tee to green. I mean, he is green everywhere. Only lost to Charles Schwab. I don't know if he has any history here, but man, his irons are there. He's good off the tee. Only $7,100. I really like Jonathan Vegas. I mean, look at this, man. 9th, 2nd, 11th, 12th, 15th.
A lot of momentum right now, too. Vegas has a lot of momentum, playing good.
7,100. I think there's a very good chance he makes the cut. And here's one other guy I want to mention. Wildman thinks he's a little risky. Let's get Doug Gim off my screen, 6,200.
Yeah, the stink may wear off on everybody.
It's Maverick McNeely, man, 6,900. I mean, come on, let's go. This guy is playing legit golf. 18 birdies, 17 birdies, 16 birdies, 18 birdies. Look at that bogey avoidance. 4, 4, 3, 6. And let's go down to the one course I like to compare, RBC Heritage T4 this year. Mav McNeely, fire him up, baby. Let's go.
That's not bad. Hey, I love birdie percentage, a high birdie percentage, but I love bogey avoidance also, because nothing irritates you more in any fantasy sport when you have points on the board and you watch them come off for whatever reason. Wild Man, who's your flyer of the week this week?
Those are some good McNeely's results, man. I can't really argue.
90 points, 79, 98, 82. He's 6,900. I wouldn't even blink an eye if this guy was 7,600 this week.
His father's a billionaire also. Did you guys know that?
Is he really?
Yeah.
Well. I don't have.
Whatever.
Yeah. Good for him.
Saying, hey, he feels good. I'm sure he feels good about things. I'm sure he's got a good attitude about things.
More of a reason to back him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's not. He doesn't feel the pressure of the money, obviously.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. But look at that, man. Like top 20 in the last 4.
That's
pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. Flyer of the week.
Flyer of the week. Our theme is Wyndham. All right, we just had the Wyndham Championship. We just awarded the Wyndham Millions to the top 10 standings, whatever. Webb Simpson, I believe it's his daughter, actually, is named Wyndham. Flyer of the week, T18 in 2019 at the Northern Trust, Wyndham Clark. He's a bomber, gets off the tee really well, and he's a good long iron player. He's in horrendous form. But here's what I want to tell you. Here's what I want to tell you, guys. I build a custom model every week based on my course research. It has nothing to do with past results. And I always use the short term. The stats I've plugged in have spit Wyndham Clark out in that form as the number 6 ranked player. So he does the things that are needed at this course, in my opinion, well. And he's got a good finish here. So coming in at damn near the minimum, $6,100. If you're going to pound that top tier range, there you go. Wyndham. I think he finished last at the Wyndham last week, by the way.
The visuals don't look good right now for Wildman's Flyer of the Week. As soon as he popped up Wyndham, it was cut. In fact, he hasn't had over 10 birdies in a golf tournament this season, it looks like. And there's a lot of red on his tee to green and strokes gained and all that. But hey, that's why we call it a Flyer of the Week, a bargain. He's in the field, so he's good enough to be there at 6,100. If you want to take a dive with Wildman, have at Wyndham Clark at 6,100 for the Flyer of the Week. Any final thoughts on the Northern Trust, Bones DK? Looking for another 5-digit cash, I suspect. Maybe even that first 6-digit cash.
Yes, of course, we're always looking for that 6-digit cash, but I know last week was tough for everybody, but hey, it's hard to be perfect every week. Let's just go on to next week, and we're feeling really, really good. I think our takes were accurate. We just gotta, pick the right guys and the right formula and the right lineup. Just simple as that. So, good luck out there this week, and direct message me tonight if you want any advice on some players.
Yeah. So, are we going to be getting a cheat sheet or any type of Bones DK pick on Twitter, or is it got to be a DM?
No, I'll get the cheat sheet out. I just want people to listen to the podcast. It's the whole point. A lot of people like the easy way out and get that cheat sheet, but they don't know why I'm putting that person on there, and that's why they're like, oh, he was on your sheet, blah blah blah. Well, it was a risky play. So we'll get one out there. Edge, I kind of want to hear about your 100-round quest. I see you have the tan line there with your sunglasses.
For some reason, it's way more prominent on this Zoom call. I never noticed it throughout the day. And then when I get on here, I'm like, damn, I can see the whole.
I mean, that is serious right there on the side.
You see, it goes right down through my nose here. My nose looks like I don't know. Been playing a lot of golf though. 77 rounds, man.
It looks like you put motorcycle goggles on and sprayed yourself with red paint.
Hey, you know what? You saw the Patrick Reed tan line the other day, didn't you? When his entire forehead was white, like white hot, and the rest of his face was golden brown. He plays a lot of golf. I play a lot of golf, even for being in North Central West Virginia. There's been a lot of sunshine out here this summer. So 77 rounds. Can I get to 100? We said until October, so there's definitely time to do it. I got to go back to work here pretty soon. And
whoa! You seem a little hesitant there. I have a lot of money on this over.
Well, I got 5 rounds on the books right now that are definitely going to happen. So we have at least 82 rounds, and I told you guys off the air. There's my daughter in the background, by the way. I told you guys off the air that I turned 41 last week, and it's just hard for me to if I play 36 holes or 27 holes in a day, I can't walk the next day for the first hour or hour and a half of the day. I mean, I got cement blocks on my feet. My Achilles are a problem. I've got a little bit of a hip flexor, and there's something going on my left knee also. And just yesterday when I was playing, I feel like I did tweak something in my back. So I'm no NFL football player. I'm no real athlete at all, which is why I'm getting hurt just playing golf. But hey, we're not dead yet, as Coach Bob Huggins would like to say here in West Virginia. We're not dead yet. But
is there a cash out option?
The cash out option is still probably pretty close to being legit. I mean, we're not dead yet. There's plenty of weekends to go.
If I go to the driving range after I hit 22 balls, I'm like, somebody needs to help me back to the car. You're playing 22 holes a day.
Well, you guys know also at Sunnycroft, where I play golf, it's on a hill. It's on a mountain. Yeah. There's no flat lies. There's nothing. So my feet are constantly at an angle all the time. Up, down, like that.
Standing at an angle is really getting him. Tom Brady's winning Super Bowls. Brad's I can't stand on a ground that's not perfectly flat.
Yeah. Well, again, that's how you asked, that's how it's going right now. I'm in pain every day. We're fighting to get to 100, but we're still optimistic, as we always are here in North Central West Virginia. Things could be worse. Even 77 rounds, that's only a C+ average. and we'll probably get, like I said, hopefully to 100. But I'm doing the best I can. Let's just say that I'm doing the best I can.
All right. Well, I feel good about it, I guess. I got to go down and play some golf with you,
Doesn't sound like you feel very good about it, but hey.
I was feeling great before this conversation.
All right, Wildman, any final thoughts on the WGC this week in New York City?
Well, we're going to fade DJ, who's our favorite player in the world, because he just doesn't have very good results here. And then the only other thing I'm going to say is, man, it's like Tony Finau at 8,200.
He's getting down there.
It. I mean, this guy was on the cusp of the top 10 in the world golf ranking a few weeks ago, man. $8,200. We talk value, man. Argue value. I argue against value right here.
Final thoughts, Bones DK.
So, you think he's valuable or not? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Tony Finau. He's on my banned list as well, next to Hideki. I've just lost too much money. Good luck. If he wins finally, I'll congratulate everybody. Hey, look at that puppy.
That's what I'm dealing with right now. A 9-week-old puppy and a 6-year-old daughter in the studio with me while we're doing the podcast. So final thoughts, Bones DK. Anybody else you want to mention?
No, that's it. Good luck. I like the guys we mentioned. Let's take a hard look at Adam Scott, Shane Lowry, Paul Casey. These guys are good players in big moments. Harris English. It's hard not to play all 4 of those guys. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll find out when I lock the lineup. I'll be tinkering until about the last 2 minutes, so hopefully the lineup saves when I finally decide to
By the way,
pick.
Wyndham Clark, a Denver, Colorado native. I'll be in Denver, Colorado with Bones DK Golf tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's get some video clips of that golf game when you guys go to the Keystone course also. I want to see a couple shots. There's no doubt about that.
We'll be with Wolf Goat, the 60K winner last year.
All right.
So we got a lot of winning contest winners in the golf cart. It's going to be we all suck at golf, I think, but
Yeah, we get some footage.
Let's get some video footage. Follow him on Twitter, Bones DK Golf, TWMan66. My name is Ed. You can follow me on Twitter. My quest to 100 rounds. We're getting there at Golf Guy WB. Thanks so much for watching or listening, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Good luck out there.